We all look at the same flag, but we don't all see the same thing. To some, it's sacred. To others, it's a promise still waiting to be fulfilled. But that flag and the freedoms it represents were never meant to silence anyone. They were meant to protect the right to speak, even when that speech makes others uncomfortable. A veteran once told a man who was angry about someone burning the flag, "Many Americans fought and died so we could burn that flag because they fought for liberty, not obedience." That's what real patriotism means. It's not about worshiping symbols, it's about defending the principles behind them. The founders didn't see patriotism as blind loyalty. They saw it as vigilance, a citizen's duty to question power. Thomas Paine wrote that the duty of a patriot is to protect his country from its government. And Jefferson reminded us that dissent is the highest form of patriotism. They had just broken away from a king. They knew what happens when people trade conscience for comfort. To them, patriotism was participation, showing up, speaking out, and holding leaders accountable. At the heart of it all was a revolutionary idea that a nation could be built not around a ruler, but around the people themselves. When the framers wrote, "We the people," at the top of the Constitution, they declared that ultimate power would rest with us, not the government, not the wealthy, not any single party. That was the promise of America, a system built on laws, not kings, on consent, not control. The Constitution was never meant to be worshipped as an idol, but used as a living contract, a tool for citizens to shape, limit, and guide their government. Defending that document and the spirit behind it is one of the highest acts of patriotism. The founders had seen what power without limits could do. They lived under a king who ruled by decree, where obedience was demanded and questioning authority was punished. So when they built a new nation, they made one promise above all others: never again. No kings, no masters, no divine right to rule. The only power that mattered was the consent of the governed. That was the radical heart of the American Revolution. Ordinary people saying, "We will think for ourselves. We will choose our leaders, and when those leaders fail us, we will replace them." They didn't fight to trade one crown for another. They fought to build a nation where every citizen is sovereign, where loyalty belongs to ideas, not to individuals. That's why the words "no kings" still matter today, because freedom doesn't end when the battle's won. It must be defended every generation. And whenever power grows too comfortable, too certain of itself, patriotism demands that we remind it, we are still the people. Over time, we've seen what happens when patriotism is twisted into nationalism. Nationalism demands loyalty to leaders and symbols. Patriotism demands loyalty to truth and justice. When patriotism becomes a test of obedience, it's no longer love of country, it's submission to power. And history has shown again and again that submission never ends well. America's greatest patriots weren't the ones who said, "My country, right or wrong." They were the ones who said, "My country, let's make it right." The abolitionists who defied the law to free others, the women who marched for the vote, the workers who stood up for fair wages, the citizens who faced dogs and fire hoses to demand equality. They all fought, not against America, but for it, for the promise it made to all of us. Patriotism isn't only found on the battlefield, it's in the classroom where truth is taught. It's in the press that questions authority. It's in the hands that build, care, and vote. Every time you take part in democracy, you honor every person who ever fought to preserve it. Freedom only survives when citizens defend it, not with slogans or anger, but with participation. Vote, speak, listen, challenge lies when they appear, and never mistake silence for peace. Patriotism is not a performance, it's a practice. It lives in what we do, not what we say. So ask yourself, what does loving your country really mean? Is it shouting the loudest, or standing up for the ideals that make this country worth shouting for? Because patriotism is not about the flag we raise, it's about the country we keep. And the only way to keep it is to take part in it.
Thanks for watching Hot LZ. If you value open discussion and real American voices, make sure to like, subscribe, and share this video. And join the conversation at hotlz.com.